when people like ask me, am I mad about like guys blowing up on the internet? I'm like, no, it's just a natural evolution. I'm actually, I love some of these guys. I'm like everybody else. When you you wake up in the morning, you get something funny, you know, Ha Davis and Country Wayne, them, I love them dudes, dog. Them my guys. DC Young Fly, like, and they know it. Like, I let them know, man, y'all my guys, man. Like, don't, I ain't in the group that's hating on y'all. Like, I don't know about the old dudes that y'all, these old niggas be hating on them. I'll kill it. Cause I'm good over here, you know what I'm saying?
I was 21 when I looked in the mirror, staring deeply into my eyes as I cried. You see, I have been heavy my whole life. Chubby and fat was all that I knew. Fear for what was the unknown. How would I look strong? And how would I look toned? Standing in front of a glass on my path, down 30 pounds, still round, still square. At the time I had roommates, they're skinny and thin. How come I don't look like them? You see, I never knew my body was my own. And how it is shaped is my home. Stuck in comparison with the lack of self-love. I stared into the mirror and looked in my eye. No matter how hard you try, you will be fat for life. Those words rang deep into my soul. The fire of a young man leaving that reflection was the last of that story I told. So I thought. 365 days later, I was able to shed this skin. I became strong. I became trim. I thought I was complete. Everything but thin. Still hiding and judging this body, I was lying through my teeth. I gained it all back in 156 weeks. I couldn't keep this body because I was indeed incomplete. Now I scroll through old photos thinking, how could I have been such a fool? I had everything I wanted. Why was I so cruel? Where was the love? And why did I cave? And at 28, I looked into a mirror, much different now, but still round and still fat. I haven't looked myself in the eyes for years. I was avoiding every reflection. I stepped up facing the glass. I said, I know you did everything for my protection. I am proud of you. You went through so much and you always came out on top. We've been together for 28 years. I know you have a good heart. I forgive you for what you stopped and what you couldn't start. I forgive you for what you've been through. It's been years since I've let this, and I know. I never said this, but I love you. Now go get this. 29 with a different understanding. I'm still working on me. I am home, but now I have family. Ready for the next chapter to reclaim what I said after. Love, Nuncio.
They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Cedric the Entertainer. I'm here with my guy Ruben on the podcast Live Through Love. You know, today we talked about it all, man. Cancel culture, family, being a father, comedy, my journey, and so much more. You do not want to miss this podcast. You feel me?
Yeah, I ain't got my slick.
And we'll make you look good.
Is that it? Everybody clapping?
Yeah.
Just like said, make them clap to this.
Beep, boop, beep, boop. All right, that's going to be the opener for this track.
Make them clap to this. Can you clear that?
Yeah. If we're not selling anything, I think we can use it.
Cool. This is
and then later they'll be like, well, we won't be able to pay you ad revenue on this. I'm like, I'm not getting ad revenue anyway, so it's all good. Let the song play. Cedric, thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man. That was awesome, man. You know, Good. Just from day one, man. You know, I met you, just a very, very, very cool kindred spirit, and just loved your attitude right away. And then, of course, found out we were connected on another level, so that was even doper. But, you know, like literally since I met you, it's just been one of these easy, you know, kind of, you know, people that you meet in the world that's like, do what they say they're going to do and doing it and have a good vibe and good energy. And we've been able to do some really cool stuff together. So I'm really, really happy to be here for you, man. This is cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We've done some good in a short amount of time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think that, you know, that's, you know, in a way, par for the course for, you know, your mission. I mean, you know, you can see this word out there a lot in the world, right? And people often throw it around and they use it very cavalier and pretty, you know, loosely. But, you know, like I said, there is a degree of consistency with people who I believe love forward, love first, and do it in a sincere fashion. You can oftentimes see that and read that pretty easily. And I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, that's definitely, you know, part of my personality. One that, you know, I say people have to ruin themselves with me, as opposed to me. You know, I don't really live life being very hands off, you know what I mean, until you show me you're not worthy of that. But in general, if you're a good dude or a good person and you kind of like in a good vibe, you know, please, more of it. Come around. Give me some of that. Let me get a little dose, you know, because I can use that as well. So, but, you know, of course, when somebody comes with the negative energy or you know, some stuff where, you know, they calculating or, you know, mishandling my love, then, you know, then it is another side to love, and it ain't necessarily hate, but it's another side to love that is not inviting, you know what I mean? So it's dope, man. And I think you've been consistent in that energy. So that's dope. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, man.
I'm receiving that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I grew up watching you, you know, on comedy, on TV.
Yeah.
Different shows. Love what you stand for. A lot of people only speak very highly of you.
Yeah.
And I love that when it comes to like people that do work, public facing people, right? You're out there. And it's really great to know that like he is who he is. So what you're talking about right now is important, especially people that have influence and people that are the faces of society and things like that. But were you always that way? Were you always so open and trusting first?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you know, I come from a single parent household. My mother was a school teacher. It was just me, my mother, my younger sister. Lived in a small town in Missouri first, Carruthersville, Missouri, small town, rural kind of city. I think at the time, maybe 3,300 people, something like that. Maybe it was 23,000. I don't know. It was small. Like it was small. It was like, and then I moved to St. Louis, and which of course was a lot far more metropolitan. But, you know, in general, my mother was a very loving person. And, you know, again, the youngest of her siblings. And so also the person that was also the most accomplished out of her siblings, because of generationally, she was the one that got the most stuff, because, everything kind of evaluated and people got better at their jobs. And my parents was able to send her to college, and not necessarily my grandparents, but not necessarily her older siblings. But still, you know, I think that led to me having a forward kind of thinking mentality, and then also just kind of operating in the world as somebody who was very secure in myself. And so I didn't really measure myself by a lot of other people. I lived in a lot of spaces. Even before I did comedy, you know, I went to college, I graduated, I worked at corporate America. You know, I did live in the hood. So I had a lot of, I had, some street elements to me as well, you know, so a lot of balance. So when I came into comedy, I just had a lot of balance. You know, I kind of like let that really lead my joke telling and who I was as a person as I started to grow into adulthood. So, yeah.
So, and then I learned a little bit when I did that event with you that you came out with a wine dedicated to your mom.
Yeah,
so the influence that she has had on you and your sister.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So my mom, so I've done, she passed in 2015, cancer. And so, you know, since then I've done a lot of things to like just dedicate and represent who she is and who she was to my sister and myself. So including most of my charitable work goes in a direction that was something that she cared about. So, you know, we have a women's health pavilion at a hospital in St. Louis right now with her name on the front of the building. And so then when I had an opportunity to do this wine, she was a reading specialist for over 30 years. So when I had an opportunity to do this wine, I thought it was really great to be able to kind of give back to literacy programs based off her interest in teaching people to read and caring about people reading. So, and she would do that to anybody, kids, adults. You know, she couldn't wait to like get somebody in front of a book, you know, like, so that was her thing. And so this opportunity to do the wine, Zeta is the name of the wine. Zeta is the name of the wine at smithanddevereaux.com. It's only online, but it's doing really great. And so you got to go and order you a case or a bottle, man. It's beautiful Napa Valley red blend done with my man Ian Devereaux up of Smith Devereaux Winery. So.
I had it. Yeah. It's good. I drank a whole bottle that night.
Oh, yeah.
They just kept pouring.
Oh, yeah. It's very good. It surprises people how good it is. But, I mean, you know, my kind of, foray into wine, of course, came, you know, as I started to do comedy. And you go out and you go to these dinners, and then, you know, the higher you get in the, you know, the food chain, people like, oh, you got to have this one, you got to have this Rothschild, you got to have this French. And so eventually you start to really, even without being a true connoisseur, you start to have an idea what you really like. Yeah. And so when I was designing this wine, I really just kind of, you know, went through a number of different tastes, but really laid in on the things that I like, you know, and was like, yo, this is what I wanted to do. This is how I wanted to finish. This is how I wanted to feel. So I was very proud of it. And it's been doing really great and got a lot of love. We won at least 4 medals. So it's a really special experience to have that and then have it represent her in that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful thing. It's and a lot of things, like, we keep running into each other. It's just ever since that, it's about being in service. Yeah. Right? I see that the charitable good you're doing, the acts of service, and the more I connect with people when we're doing things for a better cause, a bigger cause than ourselves, I start realizing life is way more fruitful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you hear that like as always, right? The more you give, the more you get, you know what I'm saying? Theoretically that, and people definitely hold on to their own stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. And you think about that, like the idea of being able to, to kind of like love first, help others, give, you really do get it back tenfold. And, it's hard to explain a lot of times, especially, whenever you coming, out of the mud, as the kids say, you coming out the mud, I'm out the mud with this, like, so, but theoretically, when you do come up, it's hard to think that me giving you what I have is actually going to come back to me even more so. Mm-hmm. But the more you live it, the more you recognize it. And you feel it's just way more of a blessing, oftentimes to be able to give to somebody that has less. It makes you feel better, even though it's not supposed to be a selfish move, but it is an idea that you like, yo, please, if that could really help you, I'd much rather you have this than me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and then, like you say, you get things back tenfold. And a lot of times we worry about so much stuff in life, where are we going to get something from or where this next situation going to show up. But again, in the aspect of really just trying to live in faith, the spirit of your karma that you've thrown out there, I kind of like, not in a bold, entitled way, but I feel like I'm old. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when I do things, I can look like I'm being reckless about it, but I'm old.
Yeah.
Like, cause I do a lot of cool stuff for people. So I'm just gonna throw it out there and let the chips fall where they may, right? And do good things for cool people.
Mm-hmm. You're like, I've been there, done that. Here I am. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
So comedy. You know, I've seen you growing up. Was it the Kings of Comedy back in the day?
Kings.
Some of like you hang out with some of the George Lopez and Steve Harvey, and I used to just watch this as a kid growing up. But there's such a power to comedy now, and if we're talking about in a world, and I really want to go into cancel culture and talking about that, and I feel like comedians right now are like at the wrong end of something because you can't even say things because we're not allowed to have opinions anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's the elevation of the times that we're in, man. Like in the sense that, it's just everybody actually has an opportunity to have a voice, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, with Twitter and social media and, everybody really have an opportunity to kind of like state their case. These are things that, a message wouldn't even catch on or wouldn't necessarily spread as quickly as it is now. And so, I mean, there is a degree of, people do need to kind of, not necessarily be reckless in the sense of and claiming it and calling it comedy, right? Like, I mean, there's a degree of responsibility that comes with any time you're an orator, right? A pastor or a teacher or, because we'll look and see, even some of these educators like willing to just teach kids anything, right? Mm-hmm. Or not teach them something very specifically. Mm-hmm. And you would say, well, okay, they got the same responsibility to be able to spread this thing. So as a comedian, sure, you're supposed to have this, in a way, this freedom to be able to just kind of say things, especially in a sense of humor. But because we speak into a large group of people, there is a degree of just, being aware, like, right? And again, I ain't mad at that. And at the same time, as a comedian, I also understand the counter argument that, that for us, it really is. Because a lot of times you writing a joke and you haven't really finished it, right? You just telling the idea that you got, right? You shaping it. And so sure, your first idea of a joke or something may have something very offensive in there that wasn't your intent, but it ain't my intent. I'm like trying to write something right now, folks. Like I'm a person that this is how I operate. So that's what I feel is the most unfair about comedians, because we don't get, we're not here to teach you a lesson. We're really just here to show you or reflect on society. And sometimes that ain't pretty, man. Sometimes that's not the way we all like it, right? Yeah. And so that's the big part about cancel culture, in the sense that, I say cancel them. You cancel me, I cancel you. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't really give a damn. Yeah, right. But it is tough. I mean, I remember having a time I had a joke that was, again, I thought the shit was hilarious, and it was over the line probably at the time. But somebody had to bring that up to me, right? Like, and it was one of these things where, everybody was mad at Tiger Woods. I just remember everybody was mad at Tiger Woods because he called himself Colombian at the time. And he was like, I'm Colombian. And I was like, what everybody so mad about? I mean, yeah, Daddy Black. Daddy Earl Black. Sure, Daddy Black. But the mama, mama could do nails anywhere in town, and bam. Joke was too far. It was over the line. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I thought it was hilarious. But boom, people attacked it. Like, yo, it's, you categorized her, you put it in a, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm trying to find the difference between the line of saying a person has many cultures in him, right? He's not one thing. That's what I'm trying to get. But I got you, right? I got you. Let me figure that out and find another way to tell the joke. But I got it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's me. Like, that's me not necessarily want to be a person that's out to intentionally offend somebody, like, because I think it's funny. Yeah. If you find that offensive and I don't have a good justification for why I love this joke or I think it's relevant and I feel like, all right, I can understand your offense, I'm cool. I can pivot off that, but that's me. Like it's other comedians that's gonna be like, fuck that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I do what I do, and that's what I do. All right, so there that is. I mean, I think in the world, like somebody like Chappelle, like I thought, like I understood what his statement was, and I thought that he brilliantly put it together as he told a story, and he told a story in 3 parts, which was even dope. He didn't even give you his full answer at the time when everybody was so offended. Yeah. He let you be offended and then came back and explained the whole story. And then you had to realize like, that's an actual specific individual, one person with somebody he actually knows that he's talking about. So you can't generalize that because you don't know that person. Yeah. You don't know that situation. That's a very, and that was something to talk about the wholeness of how one becomes offended for the whole, right? That's cancel culture, right? Is you get offended for everybody about something that you feel. You can't be offended for everybody. So everybody don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Not every Asian person thought that joke wasn't funny. Some people was like, that's hilarious.
Right. And the majority of people that take offense, it has nothing to do with them.
Right. No, well, exactly. And this is where we get into the soapbox of it all, right? Because now everybody wants to measure themselves by, you know, how important they are to any subject matter. And that's very nerve-wracking, right? Like anything, you know, the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith thing. Everybody named mama wanted to know what I thought about this, right? And, you know, I said, you know, really it was just between 2 guys. I mean, I know it happened on television, but everybody trying to own it like it's their problem. When really that was that man and his wife and that man and his face. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't really know what I got to do with that, to be honest. I get it that everybody's like, it was a joke. It wasn't even a joke. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was the offense. Everybody missed the point. It was the offense. That was the offense. And if you offended, you offended. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, I mean, you know, so, well, he shouldn't have did it on TV. That's your call. But I ain't got no opinion other than that would be happen between those 2 guys. I know them both. I love them both. I don't believe neither one of them villains. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just think that at that moment, that was 2 guys that had to deal with the circumstance that was in front of them. And that's how it came out. So, you know.
People being humans.
The human aspect. And I was like, some of y'all ain't never had to smack a motherfucker. Because, I mean, it happens. Like, I mean, I have. And when I did it, I don't find myself a violent person or a person that's going around looking for fights. Or even at the moment I did it, that I think like that's what I was about to do. Yeah. It just literally one thing led to another that led to another. And that's your reaction, right? I'm not a brawler. I'm not walking around trying to be brolic, you know, just, I walk in, you know what I'm saying? But theoretically, you know, human reactions can happen. You know, somebody cut you off in traffic. You could just be coming from church. But watch how many motherfuckers come out your mouth. Right. You know what I mean? You just left church. You didn't know you was going to react to somebody, you know, you got your kids in the car. All these emotions come out like soon as you feel like you're threatened by something, right? Yeah. So, you know, that's the thing about the idea. But again, I think that we all have to then learn to have that degree of deference and forgiveness, understanding, and then allow people to work their situation out without you interjecting your opinion into it. And now everybody got an opinion, so it gets hypered, you know, like, I mean, Chris Rock should sue, and he gotta, you know, I mean, what?
Why isn't he pressing charges?
Whoa, what do you got to do with this? Yeah. Why are you on CNN saying that? Like, why are you charging that up? Like, that's, you know, whoa, calm down, sir. You know, like those kind of things are, and then, you know, like all things, you look up and a month later, nobody talking about it. So it's over. It's the next story.
Right. Right now, COVID's over. Right now, so, it's Roe versus Wade, and always gun violence.
Always gun violence. That's so, you know, and these are the things that are, you know, to the idea of what the world really needs is that recognition that, you know, we all have to operate. You know, we always look at ants, right? Like, you know, it's very interesting to see a colony of ants and see them operate and move and the uniformity of it. And you wonder, like, if you went down in their world, are they arguing? Like, are they banging on each other? Like, is it like blood ants and crip ants that's like just like not having it because you crossed over?
Harmony. They're in harmony.
Yeah, like, yo, and then, you know, the idea that, like, you know, you look at, you know, you see them moving a branch or something, and it's like a whole system to, like, seeing this, you know, you seeing this branch move down the thing. You're like, how is that? What is going on? There's an army of ants making it happen, right? And they just flowing like in their world, you know, not knowing, like, and so for us, I think that we have to understand that color and culture and differences, that's just a part of, you know, who we made up as human beings. Mm-hmm. So the idea that one is somehow better, one somehow deserves more, you know, recognition and power and all these kind of things, you know, they just constantly mess up with the flow. So these are the things that, you know, you really would love, you know, as a people, especially as a country, especially, like, you know, you look at the gun violence and all that kind of stuff. It's like, what is this idea that you would leave your house and randomly go kill some people you don't know? Like, what's even macho about that? What's dope about this? It's all cowardice. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you got this powerful weapon and you're willing to just go and harm innocent people, where in that is that gangster? Mm-hmm. Like, that's not even dope. Like, dog. So it means that people have just gotten very, very far away from recognizing a fellow human being, you know, including your own relatives. I mean, if you can't look it over and see your cousin and your mother in a crowd of people, then you missing it, bro. You like missing a soul. Like, because if you don't want nobody to do that to your people, why would you think you just can run out and do that to just somebody random? If it's not personal, you know, put the gun down, dog. If you ain't got no, you know, I know people don't knuckle up no more, but, you know, still, like, just random, not connecting with the human spirit, the idea that we all got struggles, we all got loved ones and people we want to get up and kind of like do our best for, then, you know, honor that, like, before you go out and just, you know, let alone kids, you know what I'm saying? That's just ultimate cowardice to go to a elementary school. Like, it's whack. Because if you went to a high school, you might get beat up in there. That's the problem. Might get hit with a dodgeball. You got an AR, and it's like the dodgeball team just practicing. Imagine. Light your ass up.
That'd be, oh my God.
Never saw that one coming.
Boom.
Oh, no.
They're the next dodgeball champions.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but see, all of this, when we talk about it, we all have opinions now. We all have agendas, and we all want to be right. And it doesn't matter. I mean, we're doing this within blood relatives. We're doing this with siblings. We're doing this with spouses. We're doing this across the thing. Of course, we're also going to do it with strangers.
Yeah.
But ultimately, and then you were talking about offense earlier, we're so easily, and I'm just talking from experience, eager and willing to give our power away. And we just give it away and give it away and give it away because we can't actually be offended. We can take offense. You can say something, and you know what? I'm going to take offense to that. I'm choosing to take offense. Right. You actually didn't offend me. So now we're giving away power. We're asking for our opinions to be right and validated. And we don't care that someone else can actually have a difference of opinion, but we can meet in the middle as human beings.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. I never really heard somebody even put it that way. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody uses the term "I'm offended," right? Mm-hmm. And you're right. And if you choose to be offended, then you gave it to them, right? Now I can take offense. Sure, I can take offense to what it is that you said, and but all right, so be it. I can move on too, right? But if I'm offended, then I'm like, I'm wallowing in the idea that somehow I have to fight back, right? I have to stand up and let it be known and scream at the top of my lungs about what's right and wrong and how my right is more right than yours. So, yeah, that's very interesting. I never really heard somebody give it, literally take the power away from it like that,
Yeah.
Because it's a way to just, you're right, you can diffuse all of it, which is in most cases, right? We always talk about when somebody like going crazy and they like yelling at the top of their lung and you go calm, you realize you just you take their power.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. You can't escalate, right?
What's going on? You pull it all out if you don't match that nonsense, right? And I mean the hyperness of it. But I think if you keep so many people in poverty and out of knowledge, out of power, in the sense that they don't have personal power, then everyone, of course, tries to look for the person that has less and then try to exert what would be their power in a situation, which is, where you find so many abuses, husband to wives, adults to children, big kids to little kids. Like everybody is like trying to, bully the next situation so that they can feel significant in this big world that has a lot of people feeling insignificant, even though we're probably, on some levels living in, one of the greater times in the world with the amount of technology and the ability that people have to be great, to explore their creative sides, to be able to express themselves in unique ways. You would feel like it's no reason to feel like I can't be heard. Right. So therefore, I'm going to just dominate you. I'm just going to dominate this kind of personal interior situation.
Yeah. I mean, with technology now, with social media, anyone could go be a comedian. They can just start an account, start throwing jokes, and all of a sudden Netflix is like, yo, we want to give you a special.
They do.
And let's just not forget that we have that power now if we choose it.
And, and that was a big thing. And of course, everything is generationally, right? Because that was another thing that came, like, again, my era, we came into television when cable was starting to really blow, right? So again, guys before me, they had 3 networks and, a couple of big TV shows to get on, and those shows can give you a name. And then I came in a generation where cable was available. So it was more networks, needed more content, and more comedians came out. So I say I came from one of the greater generations of especially Black comedians. I mean, that really are still out here doing it. When you think about, Chappelle, Rock, Jamie Foxx, me, D.L. Hewley, Earthquake, you can just keep going. They was all in my class. Chappelle, they all from that era of comedy, people that still exist. And of course we knew like the Eddie Murphys and Richard Pryors and the Damon Wayans and these guys were a little bit ahead of us, but again, television gave us that, and now we got the internet. So when people like ask me, am I mad about like guys blowing up on the internet? I'm like, dog, it's just a natural evolution. I love some of these guys. I'm like everybody else. When you wake up in the morning, you get something funny, Ha Davis and Country Wayne, them, I love them dudes, dog. Them my guys. DC Young Fly, and they know it. Like I let them know, man, y'all my guys, man. Like don't. I ain't in the group that's hating on y'all. Like I don't know about the old dudes that y'all these old niggas be hating on them. I'll kill it because I'm good over here. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. That's really the evolution, because I feel like that's really how I got put on. My evolution came with, again, we had cable and we had a lot more television shows, opportunities to create TV shows, and therefore opportunities to tour like in a bigger way. Like it used to be all about comedy clubs, but when Def Jam hit, then anybody could throw a jam. You can do the Ruben Comedy Jam, dog, and it'll be packed. Like, just because you use the phrase jam.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would be packed. So we went from doing clubs to theaters to arenas, all based off a branding idea, right? So that had very little to do with me individually. I had to be good to be able to be, warranted to be on the bill. But the idea was a bigger concept that was sold, and people was like just coming to they come into the idea that, if this is some kind of jam, it's going to be big and it's going to be lit with a bunch of dope comedians. So,
yeah.
So
if you don't evolve, like the evolution of everything. So the fact that you're looking at the youngins coming up and you're giving them props, how that feels good.
Yeah.
And
I never really embraced it myself. That was the other thing. Like, the other thing is you can stay true to who you are too. Like, of course, when everybody was changing, I remember Kevin Hart, who was like, he's that combination, right? He with us and he with them, right? But he also knew that this was coming. So he was young enough to know like, so he started doing a lot of videos and all these things. And it was just something that at my time, I was like, even the word follow for the OGs, like, hey, follow me on this. We like, don't follow me. Like, we didn't like that at all. Like, don't follow me.
What's he doing?
Yeah, hey, follow me. No, don't follow me. Don't have that camera on every time I do something. No, we from the talk over your head with the head over your mouth era. Everybody mobsters. Like, we not giving up no game. So except for people we know. So we weren't really out just giving out like free stuff with not understanding that that's a different era where people like, give me the free jokes. Give me all the free stuff. I want to just click on it and get all your stuff for free. Yeah. We like, what? No.
Where's that ticket? You gotta get that ticket.
Sorry, my man. So, I mean, and I'm okay living in my truth and being who I am. And, I never was able to really kind of get that, and buy into it. And I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm not like, oh man, things pass me by, because the other thing is you can easily look up, and be the old dude at the club too. Like if you coming to it wrong, you know what I mean? Like and trying too hard. That's the thing about this generation as well. They can see when it's not authentic, right? So it won't work anyway. Like if it's not authentic, then they're gonna be like, man, you trying too hard. Like that shit don't work, right?
Yeah.
So.
But that's the thing. The more you give, the more you get. It goes right back to that now.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? You've got a couple of shows coming on. Like, how are you evolving? How are you evolving from the comedy space for you as an actor, an artist, a comedian, and just as a human being? Yeah,
man. I mean, that's the thing I just kind of recognize about myself is that creativity is something that, is a blessing. It happens inside of me, and I'm able to do a number of different things that I can be able to, kind of put it out into the world. So, I got my TV shows that I do, on CBS, The Neighborhood on Monday nights, be coming back this fall for season 5. But I've been like literally consistently on television probably for damn near 30 years. Like it's crazy. Like you take it for granted. And of course, like it's up and down, as far as like what's the hottest thing, but consistency is always, number one in my book. So, and then now I'm producing shows for other people. I got 2 shows on the Bounce Network coming up. Johnson's, which is premiering next week on Bounce. And that's about 4 friends, all with the last name Johnson. They met in elementary school because they all had the same last name, and now they're adults, and so they're friends still operating as these 4 guys, and they got adult issues, and it's a male-oriented story that we usually get from females about love, life, how you handle situations. They all got different circumstances, but they all boys. So it's really dope. We're in the 2nd season. That season 2 will be coming out from that. And then I'm producing another show that just came from the promo shoot for that called Finding Happy. And that's about a 36-year-old female who on her 36th birthday realized she hadn't hit her mark, you know. And of course, so many women have these kind of ideal, you know, I'm going to be married by 30. I'm going to have my kids by this and I'm going to have my career going. And so on her 36th birthday, she finds out she's not where she wants. And now she's trying to find happy. And so it's a cool story about that, really based off, you know, personal energy around my assistant. So again, we took something very personal and created a TV show, developing with Country Wayne, developing with Tracy Morgan. So I'm just developing a lot of really cool shows right now, a lot of young talent that we're trying to figure out concepts and ideas that can get their voices heard even more, that I'll use my influence and connections to put people on. So that's really what I'm doing right now, having a lot of time, great time doing that, creating shows, directing and producing. So I've been directing a little bit and been producing and just having a good time. Still doing stand-up. I'll still go out and do some shows, been rocking, you know, so having a good time on stage, you know what I mean? It was a good energy to, you know, have that resurge where you back out there just with the old G, the thing that started it all, you know what I'm saying? Like grab a mic and go for it. So that's been fun.
With the roots.
Yeah.
Is there any, because I saw you were doing tours, you were going around. Is there anything local happening? But they come through?
No, I don't think I have anything on the books. I'm actually looking at a tour for the fall, which I'm sure will come here on that, but not anything at this point that, you know, that I know of. That everything else, mostly closest I'm gonna be is doing this casino down in San Diego area next weekend, but that's about it. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
So you're a father.
Yeah.
I'm a new father.
Yeah.
You know, what are your best tips and like father advice?
Man, you know what's really interesting is that you realize, you know, I just saw somebody post one of these little memes on there, like, are you making humans yet? And then you see like the kid just do some wild stuff. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, you're making humans. So, I mean, theoretically, you know, the thing about having children is, you know, that you have a responsibility to shape this person coming into the world, who's actually going to live in the world and kind of operate with your DNA and your legacy, and, you know, in a way represent a lot about who you are and what you are in the world. And at the same time, they're so uniquely their own person. And so these are the things that you have to learn as a father, and then also, you know, make sure that you're putting something in the basket, right? So I have 2 girls and a boy. So I got an older daughter from a previous, you know, circumstance, not married, you know, the old, so you pregnant? Oh, that's crazy. So oh, that's wild. So anyway, but beautiful, you know, she's 33 and I got a granddaughter with her. She lives in Missouri in St. Louis. But again, you know, this is a child that's, you know, for me, it was early in my career, early in my life, and I didn't necessarily have her in the household. Mm-hmm. So you see the difference. You see the difference of loving her and yet not necessarily having the day-to-day guidance, you know, and opportunity to like place everything in her that I did with, you know, my son and my youngest daughter, who, you know, are with my wife. I've been married 23 years in September. So, congrats. you know, my son's 21, I'll be 22 in September, and then my wife and my youngest daughter's 18. So, you know, these are, but still very unique, all of them, very unique individuals, very unique kids that you as a parent, you just have to stay engaged. You have to, you know, listen, as well as know that, you know, your influence will be one of the strongest influences they'll have. And at the same time, as they grow, they're going to want to find themselves. Mm. And these are the things that become very hard, because you be like, yo, you know better than that. But a lot like you, whereas when you start to experiment, when you start to stretch out, this is all about developing that individual DNA that's inside you, that's calling for something that's unique for you, right? And so, but you know, those things that are guidelines, that are roadmaps, that are things that are comfortable, you know, recognizing love, recognizing respect, recognizing, courage and when to like stand up for yourself and when to be able to listen. And these kind of things are things that you kind of do innately as a parent. You gotta look for those things, and I was always that kind of parent, even I was never really, because I was a touring and traveling dad and a comedian, I ain't really know how to baby talk or whatever. So I always talked to my kids like they was adults, even when they was little. So we actually have a very funny relationship like that, where, again, I think, you know, for the most part, even when they were young, their vocabulary was really strong. Like people be like, yo, what is that little boy saying? Like, but because I didn't do the baby talk, I didn't know how to do it. So when I would have my chance with them, I would be talking to him, even though he had a toddler. I'm talking to him like he understands exactly what I'm saying. And, you know, and we would have our little moments where boom, boom. And to this day, that's how we operate. So people are always surprised, like how I communicate with my kids. Like, it's very, very mature, very fun, very, very, relatable in a definitely, parent way, but not like stern, like not OG, more like friends, more like people that can have a conversation with each other. And especially with my son, I thought that was very important, you know, to be able to kind of get him, because boys won't necessarily open up to you. They'll experience a lot of things on their own before they reveal. And so, you know, when he was like 13, we started to kind of see that. And then I really started to approach him from a way to where I didn't want him to feel like he was dealing with an authoritarian always when he was with me. Of course, I'm his father and I'm going to be authoritative, but we were able to find a way for him to be just really like I'm his guy. Like, you trust me as your guy, man. Like, you know, I need to know if you trying to smoke weed, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't act like you got to hide that from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about it, as opposed to you hiding it, you trying to have sex. Let's talk about that. Like, let's not. So, and these are things that are hard for a kid to do. But again, the more that they trust you, the more that they feel like, all right, cool, you're going to listen to them and not necessarily judge them or put them, or even when they want to do it, right? You know, that's half the thing. Like, they want to do something, but, you know, so they won't tell you and they'll just put themselves into harm's way. So, and the same thing with my daughter, my youngest daughter, the same way. You have to have these same kind of conversations with the girls as you do with the boys nowadays, because, you know, just lines aren't as, you know, easily drawn gender-wise anymore. Like, the girls have just as much exposure to, you know, nonsense as the boys do. So that's the main thing I would say, man, is that as you're building, of course, lead with the person that you are. Always let them know that you have them, you know, no matter what, you got their back. And then, you know, and just, you know, your way of love, your way of leadership, your way of being a human being will innately be a part of who they are. And at the same time, they will have to decide exactly who they are in the world. And, you know, it's hard. It's hard to see them fail. It's hard to see them, you know, not reach goals. And at the same time, you realize that it's nonstop. Like, no, even in my success, I remember my mom was still very much a mother. Like, you know, I'm out here killing it, you know, like, you know, but, you know, like buying her a house and getting her cars, you thinking these things, and then she'll come with, you know what I'm saying, you know, are you resting? You know, are you reading? Or what are you doing for you? Like all these things are things, right? You like, oh, wow. You know, and be like, damn, I ain't picked up in a book in a while. You know, you like, oh, damn, you know, little things like that. You realize these are the things that give your life real substance and value and who you are as a person. And therefore, you know, yeah, I dropped the ball in some places, and this is great for someone to give you that balance and that grounding and that you know, that kind of ground floor in life to help you know, like your foundation is solid. Now you can go and fly wherever you want to. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
stay grounded.
Yeah, man, just at least know where the ground is. You don't have to stay on the ground. No, you can fly.
Oh yeah,
you can fly, but you know what I'm saying. But know where you can get on the ground. Know that you can come down, put your feet down, take your shoes off, relax. Know that place exists. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I love it. No, thank you so much. And let's talk about for the future creator. You know, as an artist, I always like to tap into advice for other creators, advice for listeners, advice for the person that's like wants to take the leap of faith. You told me you used to be corporate America. I used to be in finance, and then you went off your path and I went off on my path. But what was it that took you over the edge? What was it that you saw? What are like 3 things that you're like, this is why you should pursue whatever your dream is?
Well, you know, one, it kind of probably like for most creatives, it was always inside me. It was a thing that I always wanted to do. I can remember being, I think I was probably in the 9th grade, 8th, 9th grade, and the show Fame used to be on. And it was, you know, a popular show about a visual performing arts high school. And I remember, you know, again, my mother would, you know, I'd be, you know, I was in church, I was in choir, I was singing and that kind of stuff. But I remember telling my mom I could do all that stuff. I was like, Mom, I can do all that. I can dance, I can sing, I can do all that stuff right there. And she's like, I know, baby. You know, I was like, I need to go to a school like that, not a regular school. And the only visual performing arts school in St. Louis was probably 30 miles from my house. I would have had to take school buses. It was like, and my mom was just like, no. And her being a school teacher, single parent, she just couldn't trust none of it. She was like, no, that ain't gonna happen. Like, I'm not getting ready to let you be on a bus and riding way over there. And it was through the city. So it was like you had to go through the hood to get there, you know. So, no. So, you know, and I already had like some, you know, like because when I had some trouble when I first came to St. Louis, we had to live in the hood with my cousins, and they was bad kids, but I'm with them. So I'm like, you know, running, doing, you know, throwing rocks at buses and got in trouble. And so my mom like, no, you're not doing that. So I didn't get to go, but I just remember like knowing that I could do that. So like all through high school, like I was in plays, I was in singing groups. You know, never knew I could do stand-up, but didn't know that I was the lunchroom dude, though, when it came to, like, doing the dozens. Like, all my boys, if they in the lunchroom and somebody getting them on the jokes, they, like, wait till Sid come. You talking all that stuff. When Sid come down, I bet you ain't going to be. And they call in, man, look at dude. And I was like, what's up? Who? Blase blah? Jokes. So I was that guy, right? So then I went to college because my mother was, again, an educator. That was what we did in our household. Everybody go to school, you go to college, that's the next move. And, you know, I get my degree, I get a job, you know, you're working. And another dude that I met was a comedian, and he was going around making money, telling jokes. And he would like, he used to love stuff I would say, be like, yo, that's funny as hell right there. So he signed me up to a comedy competition, an amateur night, right? And that was it. The first time I ever did it, I won $500 and I was gone at that point. Like, so I started to again, but I thought like the balance of all that really helped me because I was able to not be illogical about it, right? Like I started to build my comedy career locally in St. Louis, kept my job. I had benefits. I had, you know, company car, company credit card. I was able to live a cool life, like as a young dude, like 26 years old. And I got I got dental. I got benefit. I can take girls to lunch.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool, right? Like I'm wearing suits. I'm cool. I got swag. Yet at the same time, I'm doing comedy at night. So because I had those two things, I never really like just had to do the struggle aspect of it. I strategized almost all my moves. So when I really started to know that comedy can be my thing, I had an opportunity to be on what would they call a circuit. And if you get on this circuit, you have to earn it. So the guys would basically say, you do these shows, if you win and get on these situations, I can give you 44 dates a year. And at that point, you do the 44, you do the math, you're like, all right, cool, I can balance that out and make a living. And if I can do that, then I can give my job up before this. And so that's became my goal, like as opposed to like just being stuck in my job or leaving my job before I really had somewhere else to go. I had a goal. So I was like, I gotta get booked on these things before I quit my job. And that's basically what I did. I just worked my butt off until the dude said, all right, we putting you on this tour. And I'm like, bet. But I had saved up money too. Yeah. So I had money, so I wasn't struggling. I had a little nest egg. I had a car, I had a place to go, and then I actually had money on the books. So I try to give that game to a lot of people. It's not saying that everybody would have that circumstance, but I tell young artists, you don't have to run out because you have a skill set and believe you got to come to LA to do it. Be great where you are. Like learn to be good right where you are. Work it as much as you can. And again, that probably would have been my internet if you think about it. I was doing a lot of shows for little or no money. You do things just for the props, just for the people to see you and say like, all right, cool. You're not going to charge them if you know he going to give you 44 dates. And all I got to do is make him like me. I'm not going to go, hey, where my money at? Like, no, I'm going to wait till you're going to give me the real money, like, right? So I'm just, So I'm just going to come in and show up and be a pro and be good and then let you have to choose me, right? So that became my main strategy, and then that worked out. And fortunately for me, at the same time that was happening, this used to be all white comedy clubs. And then the cable hit and the resurgence of black comedy got very popular. Shows like, Evening at the Apollo and BET ComicView and Def Comedy Jam. These shows started to give us individual notoriety where we didn't have to be at the white comedy club now. We can come and be like, and go to Dude Lounge in Chicago and make $3,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, some dude got a lounge in Peoria, Illinois, when he'll pay you $2,500. You like, what? I'm there, buddy. Yeah. Like, so that ended up being our light for black comedy. And so we were able to move up really fast and then, get a good name for yourself. And, opportunities came from there. So, young creatives, man, again, you live in a world, if you write music, if you're an artist, if you produce films, you could just do it, right? Yeah. And not saying that you definitely want to think about, I always tell people, like, you don't want to just spend your money without necessarily knowing, like, how you plan on getting it back. So study the whole thing. What's your moves? Like, where you plan on dropping it? Like, don't go and just spend money because you want to do it and don't have any idea of how you plan on getting it back, because it's all about finishing the task. And so, and completing a creative idea is one thing. And then the other thing is, where do I find an audience? Where do I find a group of people that's like feeling me? And if I can tap into that, then, like most people, you start with 10 and you take 10 to 20, you take 20 to 40, and you just do it like that. But, you don't have to start out with 1 million people. It ain't necessary. Like, just the people that love you and rock with you, you honor them and you treat them with respect. And eventually those are the people that'll start telling people about you. Yeah. Yeah.
They want that overnight success. And don't forget that it's a long road.
Yeah.
Life's a marathon.
Well, you can, people can do that. Like, you can be microwave, or you can be, that good meal that's simmering on the pot that somebody's grandmama made, that one that's that's solid. That's you like, you know, I mean, you can decide, you know. I mean, how you want your steaks, man, you know?
Exactly.
You can George Foreman grill it, or you can, you know.
Traeger smoke it for 24, 48 hours.
Wait, nigga, when you pull that joke, you can be like, oh yeah. So that's that's the real key there, man. And again, you know, you know, being an overnight success was something that was never quite interesting for me, you know, and mainly because, again, I came to the whole game with
Mm-hmm.
more of a corporate thought process. Like, because I was leaving my job, because I was leaving something that was way more solid. Like, I'm making money, but I'm giving up dental. I'm giving up, you know, health insurance. Mm-hmm. I'm giving up all these things to go out and make. I'm making a check. I got to balance, but I got to know that that's got to be hopefully lead me to somewhere bigger, which it did. And a lot, you know, kind of to your point, a lot faster when we was talking about kind of like giving it away. It led me to where I was going in life way faster than I thought, you know, like, because even within the first year, I ran into Steve Harvey and we hit it off, and he made me a headliner. So I used to be on the tour that was doing the 44 dates. I was an opening act first for the first part. Then I became a middle act like halfway through it. And then Steve took me into the black club world and made me a headliner. Mm. And then I was gone. I was like, oh, thanks, dog. Yeah. Like, I'm plugged. So, you know, that's a relationship that, again, that's lasted 40 years just off just mutual respect, admiration. You do you, I do me. We don't have to be the same person, and we good, you know? Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, that is an insight into the journey, right? I mean, I've been doing this almost 10 years now. Yeah. But people don't think that. They're like, oh, you just did it 2 years ago. I'm like, no, it's been a while. Yeah. And that's most of our careers, most of creators, most of the overnight successes. We've been doing this. It's a marathon, and there's no right way of getting there. It's really not. And I think, you know, again, so many people just really want to skip the journey, the story. Yeah. That's where it all is, man. It's no, and again, and it is so true. It's no way to tell you exactly how to do it. I can give you ideas, and I maybe can explain to you what I did, but it doesn't mean it's going to work that way for you. I mean, you know, like I said, people go up and down. They have highs and lows, and it's usually through that story, that real building of a callus is that you can handle it. Because if you expect it to all be good, then the days that it's not, you right back at your at your mama's house, man. You back because you never had to struggle in any kind of way. So even giving it to people is sometimes very wrong. Like, you know, just putting people on because they don't quite necessarily, because you can't want it for somebody else. Yes. That's the other thing, you know, about being a loving personality, though, is you do want to see people win. Yeah. And sometimes you will put people on and you just like, and then they'll just pop and then they blame you. Like, you like, yo, what did I do? Like, I know that feeling. Yeah. I'm like, I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. Yeah. No, that's so real, man. Yeah. No. But we're going into my favorite question now. All right. Last question. How do you define living a life through love? How do I define living a life through love? Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's a profound question. You know, I guess, you know, for me to live life through love is to love first, is to try to, what I tell my kids is try to be a good citizen with a person with a good spirit, and your heart is, and your intentions are about light, or about being good to others, and then all of that comes back to you. So if you can like really want to put light into the world, you want to be a good person, you want to be a good citizen, you literally intentionally walk out of your house with the idea that I'm here to do some good today, right?
I'm good. I think that's really the way that you live through love because, you understand there's a lot of strife in the world. It's a lot of people dealing with, heavy issues. And so I think that, you want to be the kind of light that people can look and know that. I always say, your name represents you. So it enters the room before you come and it stays long after you're gone. So what does that mean? That's living through love. If people say my name, do they smile? Do they think of something cool? Do they think of something dope? Or do they have a visceral reaction like, not that, and you go like, that's a very real thing. My mother taught me that. She was just saying that she was taught me that about credit. She was just saying that's what credit is. Your name, your person, who you are. Of course it comes down like if you're going to put it on buying a house or something, you got to kind of go through that. But basically it's all about like, when I look down and see you without ever seeing you, do I think like, all right. So if somebody tell me your name and they mention you and my first reaction is, oh yeah, that's my guy. That's love. That's living through love. If I go like, I don't know about that motherfucker right there. Yeah. Then you realize you're doing some things wrong in life. You need to get it together.
Yeah. I love that. Well said. Using your name as credit.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your time. Yeah, sharing your journey. Like I said, I grew up watching you. It's been amazing watching you, getting to know you. Yeah. And where can everyone find you?
Yeah, man. So, I'm on my social media, I'm at Ced the Entertainer on Instagram. That's what I do the most. I got a website, I Am Cedric. You can kind of find everything there. Cedric the Entertainer on Facebook. I don't know. I don't really do Facebook, but I got a Facebook page, guys. Y'all go Cedric the Entertainer. Look for the blue check. It's all of them. Everybody got blue checks, right? Yeah. And then at Ced Entertainer on Twitter. No, the Ced Entertainer on Twitter. But that's the main stuff that I do, man. I play on IG more than I do anything else. I ain't got a TikTok yet. I got to do my TikTok.
Maybe we'll do our first one.
Yeah, let me do a TikTok, Joe. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to do TED Talks on my TikTok. I don't know. Like, we just hand out some stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but a lot of cool stuff, man. Got my hats, Egg and Butter. That'll be coming to my site there, eggandbutter.com. You can check out my hat company and then Zeta Wine at Smith and Devereaux, man.
One of these guys?
That's good. This is just me playing around, but all like fedoras and newsboys and stuff like that. One. But we're gonna do like a whole like men's haberdashery and stuff like that. We definitely gonna collab with you on something. Like I love that idea, like of being able. It's basically my new idea is just men's gifting and haberdashery on this site where you can go and get a lot of cool stuff for guys. We don't have stuff on where, your lady can go and be like, oh man, this is fly. You can get this for your guy right here, like a cool gift. So, yeah.
What do I get him.com?
Yeah, exactly.